Hey, this is Scott, and today we're going to talk about the best video mic on the market, the Deity D3 Pro. So if you don't already know, Deity is a relatively new microphone company who kind of branched off from Aperture. And of course, Aperture is well known for their very affordable but very high quality LED lights. Their 120D Mark II is what I'm using as my key light right now. And Deity was also very successful in creating very high quality but very well priced microphones. Recently they came out with the S-Mic 2, which is just a standard shotgun mic that has been compared with some of the top mics on the market for a much more affordable price. And then recently they announced the D3, D3 Pro, and D3 Pro location kit, which will come in at a couple different price points, but they're all very affordable. This is not quite an on-camera video mic because it can be used in so many different applications, on a boom pole, in the handheld shock mount that the location kit comes with, or of course on top of your camera. But in terms of setup, what I have right now is the D3 Pro on a boom pole, probably about a foot or just over a foot from my mouth. And I have that mounted in the Rycote shock mount, which is included in their location kit. And I'm also using the XLR adapter, which is included in that kit, which is taking phantom power from the Zoom F4, which I'm plugged into right now. I also have right next to it the Sennheiser MKE600, which I typically record these videos with, and I have that also plugged into the Zoom F4, of course. They're plugged in at the same input level on the recorder, so to get the peaks at the same point on the recorder, I have the gain adjustment on the D3 Pro set to around 4 or 5, so if you're curious about its loudness, that's kind of what you're getting side by side with the Sennheiser MKE600. And I'm not going to do any equalizer or any adjustments on the audio, so what you're hearing is what you're getting straight out of the microphone in this particular setup. I will also throw some more audio tests at the end of this video, so if you want to check that out, you can do that. But yeah, in terms of my setup at the moment, that's what I've got. I'll go back and forth a couple times here and there to show you how the Sennheiser and the Deity microphone compare side by side in this particular setup. But of course, this is a review for the D3 Pro, so I'm going to stick with that most of the time. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get into the actual review. So as I just mentioned, the D3 is mainly an on-camera shotgun microphone to compete with things like the Rode VideoMic Pro, but of course it is more versatile in the way that it can be removed from the shock mount and be put onto other shock mounts on the market to be used on a boom pole or in pretty much any setup you can imagine. So there are actually two microphones you can choose from, the D3 and the D3 Pro, which have a few little differences, and there's also a location kit which comes with a few extras as well. The D3 at the moment I believe is under $100 and the D3 Pro is under $200. The location kit will come in at just a little bit more than that, but if you compare that to the other competing microphones on the market, it is an incredible price, even for the highest D3 Pro plus location kit combination. One of the coolest features of this D3 Pro is, as I just mentioned, the gain adjustment knob on here. In this case, you get a stepless gain adjustment knob, which I've never seen before. In most, if not all, other microphones that do have gain adjustment built into the microphone, you get -10 and +20, and that's it. There have been situations where I found that the particular camera and microphone combination, or maybe just the situation that I'm in, means that the +20 setting is too much for that camera. Even if I dial the in-camera audio all the way down, it's just too much. So I wasn't able to take advantage of the +20 decibel setting on the microphone in that situation. But with the D3 Pro, you can dial it in exactly how much you need. So no matter what camera you're using or what situation you're in, you'll be able to dial in exactly how much gain you need on the microphone to work with your camera, which is really awesome. And of course, that dial also feels really nice. It's very smooth, feels very high quality. There are some bumpers on the side to avoid accidentally changing it. Just overall, it's a really nice design, and I'm very happy to see that here. The build quality overall of the microphone and everything that's included in this kit is immensely good. It's very lightweight, the microphone itself, but it's all metal and it feels really solid. Everything that's included in here is really nice, and definitely a big step up from some of the other microphones on the market, even though they may be more expensive. I love that there's a carry case included here. You don't see that with a lot of other mics, and it never hurts to have it. So even if you don't use it often on a day-to-day basis, you can use it to store the mic between shoots, keep everything organized, and again, it just doesn't hurt to have it, so I really appreciate that they put it in here. The D3 Pro has a built-in rechargeable battery, which will last you up to about 50 hours, which is more than enough for multiple days of shooting, but you're probably going to want to recharge it when you get home anyway, just to be safe. It can recharge a full battery in under 2 hours, and it will go into standby mode when you turn your camera's power off, and then turn off after about 15 minutes. So that will save battery as well if you're not really paying attention to it, unlike some of the other microphones on the market. So they have a new shock mount here that was designed for this microphone, which allows you to slide it forward and back, which is really cool. Not only can you use that to help you get balance if you're using this on a gimbal or something, but it will also help the mic to get out of the way if you want to look through the viewfinder on a mirrorless camera or something like that. And also the cable plugs into the side, not the back, so that's not sticking out and getting in your way either. Just overall, I like that you have that kind of versatility. It's a small detail, but again, it shows that they're thinking about those small details. So they really did everything they could to maximize the versatility of this microphone. Speaking of the cable, it is removable. So if you have any trouble with it, you can get just the cable replaced very easily. You don't have to send the whole microphone to get repaired. And it is also a coiled cable, which is nice because you get a little bit of extra length without having to deal with the hassle of having a very long cable. Once more, speaking of the cable, they did something really cool here and made it into a smart cable, which means that you can go back and forth between different devices, like your camera, of course, your phone, your tablet, your computer, wireless transmitter, and you don't have to use any adapters. The only adapter you would need to use is the XLR adapter if you want to use an XLR cable, which will also take phantom power, which is really cool. But usually to use a microphone like this with anything besides a camera, you're going to need some kind of adapter, but you don't here. It's less things to think about, less things to remember to bring with you, and just even if you don't often use it, which I probably won't, I'm going to be using this on camera most of the time. It's just nice that you do have the flexibility to go from one device to another without having to think about anything extra. They did also put a 2-step high-pass filter into this mic, so you can use it when you need to cut out some of those low rumbly noises like, wind noise or maybe some cars passing by. It might help with that a little bit in some cases, but you do have it built into this mic along with everything else that they put in here. Obviously, the audio quality here is top-notch as well. Like I said, I've been using the D3 Pro for this video so far, and I do have it right next to the Sennheiser MKE600, so I will go back and forth a couple times just to show you how they compare, how they sound literally right next to each other. But at the end of this video, I will also throw in some more audio tests to show things like, the mic's self-noise, how it handles off-axis rejection, and also just, to show how it compares to the on-camera mic that I've been using recently, which is the Sennheiser MKE440. It's a stereo mic. It's not exactly the same in that sense, but just in terms of pure audio quality, I want to see how it sounds side by side with that. So I'll throw all of that at the end of this video. If you want to see that, just throw your headphones on and go ahead and check it out. In terms of negatives, there's really not a lot to say here. The only thing that I can really think about is that there's no negative gain adjustment on this mic. Like I said, with some other mics, you might have that -10 and +20 setting, and the -10 might help you to pull the audio back a little bit to avoid clipping in some really loud situations. But to be honest with you, I've never really found myself needing it that much. And in most cases, just setting it at the microphone's base setting and then pulling the in-camera audio back has been more than enough. And in a lot of those cases, you're not going to get really great sounding audio anyway. But I don't think it's going to be something that most people miss out on with this mic. However, if I had to find one thing to complain about and maybe recommend to Deity to add to this in the future, would be just to make it available on this mic, so that way people really don't have anything to complain about at all. They also have what they call the location kit, which will give you the Rycote pistol grip shock mount as well as the XLR adapter, which can take phantom power. And again, this really adds to the versatility of this mic, so I highly recommend it. It'll make it really easy to use both on a boom pole or even just handheld to go around and record some sounds here and there. It's very good value, and altogether, I mean, the D3 Pro plus the location kit is still cheaper than a lot of the microphones on the market with similar build quality and feature set. But of course, if you want something a little bit cheaper but still with a great build quality, audio quality, and feature set, the standard D3 is going to be an amazing value for you at under $100. There's not going to be another microphone on the market that can come close to touching it for that price, and I'd highly recommend it. If you're thinking about going a little bit cheaper, don't. Just save up a little bit more and get that D3. If you have a little bit more to spend in your budget, get the D3 Pro. You're not going to regret it. With the location kit is one of the best all-around packages on the market today. No questions asked. It's easily the best value and best quality microphone in this range on the market. Stop thinking, just go out and get it, because you're not going to regret it. This is the mic to get right now. So if you have any questions or comments, let me know down below and I will do my best to get back to you. If you like this video or found it helpful, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, share it if you'd like, subscribe to see more in the future, and as always, thank you for watching. So this is just a quick outdoors test, kind of vlog style. I have the camera at an arm's length away from me. I'm not holding it because I'm lazy, but it is an arm's length away from me. And I just want to show you a couple of different examples on the D3 Pro and then compare it to the Sennheiser MKE440, which I've been using recently as my on-camera microphone. I have the D3 set to 0 right now on the gain adjustment, which is the lowest possible setting. And I have the in-camera audio at just over half. I'll show you the meter on screen to explain what I'm talking about, but it's just over half. And this is what it sounds like. So again, I'm not in a super noisy environment, but there is, a street behind the camera. There's some noise going on all around me. It's, I think, an average environment that you might be vlogging in. This is what it sounds with the D3 Pro on at 0 on the gain adjustment. So now I have the gain settings on the D3 Pro up to 5, which should be about 10 decibels. Each of those numbers represents about 2 decibels. And I have the in-camera audio turned down to just between the first and the second line. Again, I'll show you on screen to show you what I mean. But I do have the audio turned down a bit in camera, and then this is what it sounds like. So now I've turned the gain knob on the D3 Pro up to 10, which is the highest it can go. That's about plus 20 decibels. And I've turned the in-camera audio down to probably about 25% below that first notch. So it's not all the way down, but it's pretty close to all the way as low as it can go in camera. So again, this is how this sounds in a pretty average environment. There's not a lot of wind today. I do have the foam windscreen on there, but let's take a look at how this sounds compared to the Sennheiser MKE440. So now I've gone ahead and switched over to the Sennheiser MKE440, and I have it set to plus 20 decibels, so you can compare it back to back with the plus 20 decibels on the Deity D3 Pro. And I have the audio in camera set exactly the same, so it appears to have the exact same loudness when you're set to plus 20 decibels on the Sennheiser and also on the Deity. And again, this is how it sounds. Obviously, this is a stereo microphone, so in terms of like left and right, especially if you're listening with headphones, this is going to sound a little bit different. You'll probably hear a little bit more of that environment around me, but I'm interested to see how it's going to sound too. So again, this is the Sennheiser MKE440 at the plus 20 decibel settings. Same in-camera audio levels as the Deity D3 when that was set to plus 20 decibels.